At the NRA convention down in Dallas, making the case there should be more Republicans elected to Congress. You know who thinks that's a great idea?
Who's that?
The guy who's standing right there at Statuary Hall. He is the House Majority Leader, Kevin McCarthy. Kevin, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me back on.
You know, you watch all the channels, and they're all talking about this blue wave. The Democrats are just going to take over pretty much everything. But you say not so fast, right?
I say not so fast because think for one moment, if your viewers closed their eyes, thought the day after the November election that the Democrats took the majority and Nancy Pelosi gave a victory speech, that she was going to become the speaker, why would that make you excited? That tax cut that 90% of Americans just got, she thinks is crumbs. She held all the Democrats to vote no on that. The idea of Nancy as speaker going forward, what are they running on? That they shut the government down? That they fight us every step of the way to stop our opioid legislation moving through to help those who are addicted? That she stops this president from any appointment that he can get to help this government move forward? And now the latest, when we're sitting trying to cut this wasteful spending with rescissions, she's sitting there saying no. But under Bill Clinton, they did it 111 times. Ronald Reagan, 214 times. We made a promise to the American public. And the worst part of it all, unemployment today is at its lowest point it's been in almost 20 years. If you have somebody in college, no longer are they fearful that they have to move back home with their parents. They're going into one of the strongest places to find a job in its economy than we've ever seen.
Well, Congressman, you have a couple of things. Number one, there's a big story in the Hill today that Democrats are starting to panic because they're running on the anti-Trump agenda, which has been failing so miserably. But on your side, you got to find a way to get wages to rise and gas to decrease, because that affects everyday Americans. As strong as the economy's been, the wage growth has not been strong, and gas is going up. How do you explain both those things?
Well, I'm from California. The way the gas went up the fastest was the Democrats raised the taxes on it. We're actually in California, we just submitted an initiative to repeal that gasoline tax, actually lower the price for individuals, just like we did in the tax code. Look what we did in the tax code. 48 of the 50 states now have a lower electrical bill because they passed on those tax savings. This is what we were able to do. America is about to become energy independent, much because of what we've been able to do of repealing that regulatory world and let people go out, use the ability to find that oil and gas, and make us energy independent at the same time with wind and solar.
Congressman, there are 4 primaries tomorrow. How confident are you that the Republicans can keep the majority?
I'm very confident that we can keep the majority. Look, I know history plays against us, that only 2 times since World War II on an off presidential election, the party in power having the White House actually gained seats. But remember this, you have one of the best economies moving forward. 90% of America just got a tax cut in the process. They got their wages increasing. You've got from a point where you're seeing, look what we did with combating human trafficking. For 10 years we tried to do this. 70% of all that happens on the web. But you know what? We just signed that sitting in the Oval Office. Backpage is shut down. Those survivors are thanking this president. Then look at what's happening in North and South Korea. That has never taken place. You're going to have security in the world. We made the funding to make sure our military is strong again. We are losing more men and women in training than we are in combat. That part has to stop. And that's exactly what we put forward. And then we're going to come forward and find that we can make these cuts that on the money that's been sitting in these funds all the way back to since the stimulus. That's wasted money that we could actually save the taxpayer.
Well, one of the primary states is West Virginia. Tomorrow, the state will go ahead and pick the Republican to challenge Joe Manchin. But the president, in the last 90 minutes, Kevin, tweeted this out. To the great people of West Virginia, we have together a really great chance to keep making a big difference. Problem is, Don Blankenship, currently running for Senate, can't win the general election in your state. No way. Remember Alabama. Vote Representative Jenkins or Attorney General Morrissey. And what he's talking about is the fact that apparently, according to the polls right now, Mr. Blankenship is leading the other 2 by at least 5, despite the fact that he did prison time regarding the Massey coal mine disaster.
Yes, and he served that time in my district when he was serving in prison. And the other part is he's actually a constituent of Nevada. He can't even vote in this election. So I think the president is right here. He's leading. He's saying, let's be smart. Let's look long term. Let's not have these internal battles. Let's put the very best person forward that we can get a majority. Because look what's happening inside the Senate. They are stopping everything. While the House passed all 12 appropriations bills, Schumer shut the government down and wouldn't hold and pass anything over there. When you look at those 1,200 positions that have to be confirmed, if you count the last 6 presidencies, the number of cloture votes on that, it's about 24. In this year, 88. The Democrats are trying to stop everything. So what the president is saying, let's help this country. Let's put America first, find the very best person in West Virginia, and not have a situation where we can't even compete in November.
Now, the people behind you there in Statuary Hall have significance, don't they?
Yes, they do. Right after I leave here, I'm giving them a tour of the floor. This is the honor flight from Bakersfield, California. There's 16 veterans, 3 from World War II and 13 from Korea. I actually flew out of Bakersfield with them. We do this on a regular basis. How we treat our veterans says a lot about the values of this country. We cannot do enough for these individuals that gave us our freedoms and defended it.
That's nice. Leader, one final question. There's chatter that the Speaker Ryan may be leaving sooner than later. Just curious what you've heard.
I haven't heard anything like that. Look, the most important thing we can do is continue to build on the legislative successes we have. We are fighting for our opioid bills. We just passed 60 of them in the Subcommittee on Energy and Commerce, and the Democrats fought us.
And by the way, the Democrats are outraising you guys significantly. That's got to worry you.
It worries me, but I'm on the road. I was just with the vice president. We did very well in California. People wouldn't suspect. But I'm going to tell you this. People can underestimate us. They've done that before. And this is the same thing Nancy Pelosi said in the time before. All they want to do is capture this government to try to impeach this president or stop anything from happening or raising your taxes. I think the American public is too smart for that. They've watched having unemployment the lowest it's been in 18 years. They've watched the world become safer, and there's so much more we can do to make this country greater.
Okay. Congressman, thanks so much. And give all those folks on the honor flight hugs and kisses from us, because we are so grateful for their service.
I will.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Bye. 18 minutes before the top of the hour. Ainsley, what's coming up?
The caravan of illegal immigrants still parked down at the border, trying to get into the country, and now Attorney General Jeff Sessions is going to go down there to personally send them a message, and we're live next.
And remember this from Janice's interview with the owner of the horse, Justify?
Will you join us if this horse wins?
Absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely.